by Matthew Warren. Hello, Matthew.
Hello, Chris.
Starting off with a boost for the markets here in Europe.
Yes, we saw healthy gains across European markets on Thursday, and that followed some unprecedented reassurance from both the European Central Bank and the Bank of England. They both said that they plan to keep interest rates low for the foreseeable future. Now, that's in an attempt to stop borrowing costs from rising, which could stall any economic growth. Well, how long can we expect these low interest rates to last? Let's take a listen to the head of the European Central Bank.
I said an extended period of time is an extended period of time. It's not 6 months, it's not 12 months, it's an extended period of time.
Well, let's take a look at what happened in the European markets. They're all up around 2 to 3% on Thursday. Healthy gains there. And most of Asia seems to be picking up the baton on that. We've seen the Nikkei closing 2% up. Just the Kospi slipping back there. Meanwhile, a word on the Egyptian markets as well, which we're, of course, keeping an eye on. That was up 7%. On Thursday. That's a sign that investors, at least many investors, happy that President Morsi no longer in power and hoping for better things. But one share not doing very well this Friday is Samsung. Now, it disappointed investors on Friday with its latest earnings forecast. Now, those came in a bit below what had been expected, and it's a sign that perhaps the Galaxy smartphone S4, their premier product there, not selling as well as hoped. It says it expects to make an operating profit of about $8.3 billion in this latest quarter, the April to June quarter, but shares in Samsung down over 3% in South Korea.
OK, now to the United States. On a holiday yesterday, unemployment figures out today.
Yes, that's right. 175,000 jobs were created in May, and the consensus seems to be that it'll be around that, just less, 165,000 that will be created in June. But we'll know for sure in a few hours when the federal, or rather the jobs report is released there in the US. The unemployment rate currently is 7.6%, and we'll see whether that changes or not. But the Federal Reserve has been saying that, like its European counterparts now, it wants to keep interest rates low until that unemployment rate dips further, closer to about 6.5%.
OK, next up, we're off to Morocco, where apparently the wine industry is doing really quite well.
Yes, it is doing well, and that's despite restrictions there which are on selling wine in Morocco. But the industry is trying to improve the quality of its product to charge higher prices. Catherine Viette has more.
Northeast of Casablanca, the vineyards of Oulad Taleb soak up the sun. The wine produced here comes from the Ben Slimane region, one of 14 officially recognized wine-growing domains.
The crops here do not need a lot of water, which is why they are very good. It was very difficult to cultivate because we are near the sea, so there's humidity, but the result is good.
With an output of around 40 million bottles per year, Morocco is now a major producer of wines.
Talvan winery accounts for about 15% of the country's national production.
Sale of alcohol is forbidden to Muslims, but in reality, supermarkets and bars enforce no special restrictions. Most of the wine made in Morocco is consumed locally, but producers are hoping that boosting quality will attract buyers overseas.
At the start, Moroccan wines were for tourists just a curiosity. No one ever imagined that Morocco could produce wines of this caliber. And then gradually what had begun as a curiosity, it ended up turning into what's a real business.
The country's wine industry now employs up to 20,000 people and generated about 130 million euros in 2011. Wine growers are now setting their sights on the global market.
OK, Matthew, next to China and an attempt to put an end to a row over solar panels.
Yes, remember this, the European Union slapping a tax on solar panels from China. Now, it says that they're selling them here in Europe too cheaply and too many of them as well, flooding the market. Well, the Shanghai Securities News newspaper in China announcing today that China's going to put a cap on exports and set a minimum price as well. And that's in an attempt to try to either get Europe to reduce or abolish completely these charges because in June that charge was put at 11.8% tax on solar panels, and that could go as high as almost 50% in August if they don't get a deal done.
Meanwhile, the mafia in Italy, it seems interested in a different kind of renewable energy when it comes to laundering cash.
That's right, not solar panels, but wind farms, it seems. And this is from a pretty authoritative source. Europol is saying that the mafia is increasing investment in wind farms as a way partly to launder their money, but also to benefit from generous European Union grants, which are aimed at, of course, increasing the amount of wind power. Last year, Italian police confiscated 350 million euros worth of assets from one of Europe's biggest wind farms, which was linked to one of the largest mafia groups in Italy.
You couldn't make it up, Matthew Warren. Thank you very much for that roundup of the business. Time now for web news and the internet reacting.